Dance apocalyptic, bands that make her dance apocalyptic now, bands that make her dance apocalyptic, bands that make her dance apocalyptic now, bands that make her dance apocalyptic. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, I think we're just about ready to go. Let me bring in my co-caster for the evening with his consort. Okay, yeah, my co-caster for the evening is Consort. Consort, how are you doing?
Hey, doing good. Super hyped to be here, doing my first Nexus Gaming Series cast. First cast on my home region in North America, and ready to watch some great games, have a good time.
All right, fantastic. We are doing Tomb of the Spider Queen for our first map, and the match is between Onslaught and Average Joes. Now, I know of people on both of these teams, so I'm very excited to see how they perform. So I'm going to have a great job casting here. I think I'm going to get a ready from both teams here, and this is, I should point out, Division C East. This is the first game for both of these teams, I believe.
Yeah, I believe this is we're still working through the first games of the season for everybody at this point. I know a couple teams have 2 games this week, if I'm not mistaken. And it'll be good to see how everyone's doing. You know, we've got some teams, formed, reformed, coming out from Season 2. We've got some all new teams. Should be interesting to see how everything shakes up in Week 1.
Okay, I believe we're just waiting for everybody to un-AFK here. I cast my first Division C game yesterday. It was a lot of fun. Sorry, I'm just dealing with some stuff here, but it was a lot of fun. It was really cool to watch how people are doing the meta. It usually differs actually for every division. It's always interesting to watch how people play the game. So.
Yeah, and especially interesting coming into the season since the meta changes to towers and minions and mercenaries just got changed coming into 2018, and just got changed again as of yesterday, I believe.
Yep.
So it'll be interesting to see how everyone adapts to the changes to tower damage, minion damage, mercenary push, and so on and so forth.
Yeah. Now Blaze is banned for 2 weeks for now, but we do everything else is still in. One of the teams yesterday brought in the new mouth and seemed to do pretty well there.
Yeah, new mouth is new. I was a little skeptical when I saw the changes. I wasn't sure how they're going to work out, but he feels really satisfying to play, but not super broken or anything. You definitely have a kind of a risk reward spread there.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, we are still waiting here.
By the way, I love the little animation on the
on
the second side there. That's pretty cool.
That is where I get my namesake from. It's a pretty old animated GIF, but I'm a big fan of it. Basically, I got the name from the GIF. I saw the GIF and I laughed for about an hour straight. So I was very happy with that, and decided to incorporate it a little bit more. So I think we're still waiting. It's been waiting for quite a bit here. Now, Consort, have you played in NGS or any other amateur thing, or have you just casted for EU?
So I did some casting for EU. I've played a tiny bit of Chair League at one point with an earlier team,
nice.
And I've done actually some Open Division cups as well, though we didn't do very well in Open Division. But so I've got a little bit of experience with the tournament scene.
Okay, that's awesome. Very cool. I've also been doing Chair League for, I think, since the Season 1, so. So, the second map is going to be Braxis Holdout. I need to change that here.
Ooh. Braxis.
Yeah, you're going to Braxis, which should be pretty nice.
Yeah, Braxis has been especially interesting since the gameplay changes.
Yeah,
there's already a little bit of a snowbally map, and now with the minion and merc changes being a little snowbally too, it can get out of hand pretty quick.
Yeah, I have a I mean, I've noticed that pro teams, they've stopped doing the solo lane 4-man, and they've gone to more of like a more complex, like kind of like a 2-3, but like they roam a lot. I think they roam a lot more than they used to. So be interesting to see what happens both. Same with Tomb of the Spider Queen. Bottom lane, pro teams are not really doing solo lane bottom anymore. They're doing a more like situational based rotation there.
Yeah, I definitely see why on Braxis, because if in Braxis it's like if you're running the 4-1 rotation, you're really in a rare situation if you're winning both lanes, the 4-man and the 1v1, and holding the altars there, or holding the beacons there rather. So it makes sense to have more of a 2-2 with someone floating back and forth. I feel like you have a better chance of securing the beacons there as opposed to just trying to hold one beacon and then push.
Yeah. Okay, let me just make sure that there's no miscommunication here and we aren't waiting for each other. Because I have not gotten it ready from either team here.
We are, however, beginning to have a emoticon war in the chat. Yeah. That's starting, so...
Greetings to everybody who is joining. Okay, we have a ready from one team. And we get a confirmation here. Gladiators are ready, and then we'll see if the contestants are ready here in a second.
Just wait on that confirmation.
I know. Okay, here we are. Alright, let's do this thing.
Alright, here we go into the draft.
Start game, there it is.
Tomb of the Spider Queen.
Beautiful. Okay. Alright, this is indeed Onslaught's map pick as they won the coin toss. And we have hero pick here first for Average Joes, and we're going to see who they ban out. And I've seen Sonya be a ban a lot. ETC also a very good first ban. ETC, very powerful tank right now.
ETC always a good first ban, especially if you're not quite sure what to get rid of. He's a strong tank. He can be a strong global with stage dive. He can always find a way to be a problem for your team.
Yeah, and Sonya also, I think, is very powerful at the moment. It looks like Onslaught also deciding that if they don't want to risk giving up Sonya first pick.
Yeah, definitely standard bans going into phase 1. Not a bad thing at all. Get rid of the strong heroes, then you don't have to deal with them going forward.
Cool. They're gonna hover the Sonya ban here and spend the rest of their time thinking about what they want to do for the draft. Usually second pick lets you get away with not really having, not giving away too much of your plan early on. And we're going to see what Average Joe's here goes for the first pick. Not sure if they were expecting Sonya or not, but we will see.
Yeah, I think at this point, pretty much everybody at least half expects the Sonya ban 1, just because of how powerful she is right now in the off lane, how powerful she is on a lot of types of objectives and things like that. Especially here, she's got the health bar to step out a little bit and pick up gems, push lanes and such.
Yeah, and I would be surprised if this first pick was not some kind of gray main, or even going a mage might be too much for first pick. Gray main really the best neutral pick at the moment.
Yeah, always good to have Greymane. He's great in the rotations, bring him back and forth between lanes. He clears the wave quickly. He does a whole lot of damage. Lucio for the first pick instead, though, for the healing and speed boost for rotations.
Yep. Okay, so they go to Lucio. Also a really good first pick. Lucio very strong at the moment. Only downside to grabbing Lucio is that you give, one, you don't let your opponents take him, but two, at the cost of being able to figure out how you're gonna, work your draft around the Lucio pick.
Yeah, and it does help a little bit that he's pretty multi-purpose. He does fit into a lot of draft types, but you still want to know exactly what kind of value you're getting out of that speed boost. You want to make sure, am I using it to keep my pokers away from big damage? We're using it to dive and get in on people, and you really want to have a plan to utilize that.
Yeah, and you're gonna want some. I can probably expect Onslaught to come with some heroes that are some good disengage heroes. So Ariel here. Oh, we're looking. First pick Ariel, definitely something spicy for the second one. Yep, Ariel Gul'dan. It's been a while since I've seen these two being used, but Onslaught thinks it's still powerful, and it very well could be.
Well, Gul'dan is great on a map like this too, with his wave clear helping keep those waves pushed out. Ariel is good to have a sort of counter to speed boost dives by being able to Crystal Aegis someone, keep the dive off of a vulnerable target.
Yeah, Horrify also.
That too with Horrify.
Yeah, Horrify, definitely one of the best anti-dive tools available to them. So a good pick for them on this map. We're going to see just how Average Joe's counters here.
And it'll be interesting to see, do they go into the dive even with the heavy anti-dive tools already on the board, or are they going to try to go for something a little more patient, a little more reserved?
Yeah, and I'm also going to be interested to see what their front line is going to be now with ETC banned out and Sonya. I can imagine and Anubarak being picked up here for sure. Yep, there he is.
Good call, and Chromie for the damage.
Yeah, Ariel, now that her W has been nerfed with the cooldown reduction being taken away entirely, Chromie a little bit stronger against the Ariel. She's got really powerful burst healing, but then Chromie can also punish people grouping together to receive those heals too. So not a bad pick here. Chromie, with Bronze Talon's not exactly a slouch in the wave clear either. She's not amazing like a Kael'thas or a Jaina, but still has those tools.
And it looks like Onslaught is looking at banning another support possibly to keep Average Joes from running a 2-support lineup. And I think it's also worth mentioning with the Chromie that Chromie is a classic counter to Ariel. Back when Ariel was very in the meta, still had her cooldown reduction, her W was pulling out a lot of healing with that. Before they started moving to pairing her with Uther and had her solo supporting, Chromie was becoming a popular counter pick for the solo support Ariel because Chromie can just poke out that damage dealer without that damage dealer getting in range to generate energy.
Yeah, the downside to having the Ariel is that you've got to be fighting to bring back those heals. So they do go with the Uther ban, and I'm not too surprised with the Gul'dan. Really leaves open the question of how you're going to achieve burst, especially against an Anubarak if you really do want to go double ability power. But Greymane's still on the table, and I wouldn't be surprised to see a Greymane ban here.
Greymane ban would definitely be good here, and if they do, I wouldn't be surprised if Onslaught moved into maybe something like a Vala or some kind of other ranged auto attacker to make up for the fact. Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, they go for the Genji ban. So I fully expect to see some kind of Greymane here, and probably their tank leaving that 5th spot open for flexibility.
Right, and it'd be interesting to see what tank they pick as well. ETC wouldn't have been a bad tank for their lineup type. Arthas would normally be a good tank for this type of lineup, except that they're not running a whole lot of auto attackers yet. Most of their damage is coming from the Chromie and, likely another ranged DPS, so probably not the Arthas here.
Yeah, I would not. I would also not expect to see the Arthas at this point. Johanna, possibly? No, but there's the Arthas, and there's the Greymane as well. So they're going to have to really chase them down here to make sure Lucio doesn't just scoot everybody away from Arthas, because really the only engage Arthas really has is movement speed and just nailing those roots, and it'll be a little tougher with a Lucio on the other team.
Definitely going to be tough for Arthas to be able to land those roots and get in. That said, a Anubarak, traditionally a divier tank, perhaps their plan is to wait for a Anubarak to get in to go for peels, and just lock down a Anubarak and make him the first target. He's relatively squishy to target to melee and auto attack damage like Greymane, and Gul'dan can still help poke him down even with his natural spell armor.
Yeah, and what I do like about Onslaught's draft so far is that the last pick is really the linchpin for their comp, and it could go in a lot. They could still go in a lot of different directions here, which doesn't leave the average Joes with a lot of information.
Yeah, they have a lot of flexibility in these last 2 picks, and they go Alarak and Lunara.
Alarak and Lunara. Lunara, interesting choice here into the Ariel. Definitely going to be able to spread her damage around a lot, and Alarak is going to be the rest of their front line. They just have a lot of burst, and Lunara that's those last 3 picks are a lot of damage if they can get sort of everything off. But other than that, I'm not quite sure what the synergy is. I guess they've got an Anubarak, but the rest of their team is kind of like the Chromie and the Lunara are really more about poke damage, but the Alarak's still able to pull people in. It's also
definitely
good.
And I was just thinking that perhaps Onslaught goes into the double support as well, just given that Ariel often struggles keeping up with Lunara's damage, and then on top of that, trying to keep up with Chromie's poke as well.
Yeah.
They were going to need that extra little bit of sustain. Plus, Brightwing can bounce all over the map with Z. She maybe specs into the Bribe here, makes some surprise dips for bottom siege camp. That could put a lot of pressure on bot lane.
Yeah.
There's definitely some options there.
Yeah, and the Anubarak CC definitely going to be very good with the Chromie damage, and the Alarak to probably follow that up. So it's going to be a very... we're definitely looking at the average Joes being the more burst, dive-oriented team, and it looks like Onslaught's just going to try and wait them out, let Gul'dan do a lot of damage, and then finally when they're ready, Greymane's going to go and start executing everybody and see if Ariel and Brightwing can keep everybody up enough. And also Brightwing, a good pick, one of the best anti-dive supports in the game. So between Crystal Aegis, Emerald Wind, Horrify, and Polymorph, they're really going to be able to stop a lot of threats from average Joes.
They definitely are. They've got a lot of anti-dive, and they've got a lot of support for that Greymane between the Brightwing and the Ariel as well, and Arthas to keep him safe with the slows and the roots.
Okay.
Wouldn't be surprised to see Greymane taking a lot of value here, and I'm worried for their squishies, for Joe's squishies, for Chromie and for Lunara.
All right, okay, going into the game here, we've got Onslaught. We have Chetjan on Greymane, Malistar on Brightwing, Vinsho on Arthas, Nantek on Gul'dan, and Zeus on Ariel.
And over on the red side, we have Average Joes with Random Task on Alarak, Ogle the Great on Chromie, Harmful Wang on Lucio, Lord Boo on Anubarak, and Murphy on Lunara.
Okay, it looks like both teams are going to go ahead and slug it out mid here as we pull in. Let me check a peek at their talents. No real surprises. Arthas going Frost Presence here. Not opting for the block. Not a very good team to go... well, it would be okay to go block against, but they want that root, I think, to really lock people down and for engage.
For sure, for sure. And Alarak going into sustaining power, keep himself a little healthier so he doesn't have to rely so much on Lucio for heals. Spell armor for Anubarak to keep him alive longer.
Yeah. Bunch of poking out here, and it looks like Average Joe's is going to back up a little bit. They don't have as strong a wave clear as Onslaught does, and I think that's a fact easily in Onslaught's favor, for sure.
Definitely, and you can see both teams starting rotations, clearing lanes, trying to get gems as quickly as possible.
Okay,
going to prioritize different lanes here to begin with.
Yeah, Brightwing up here, she's going to be safe for the most part, staying close to her towers, just trying to get as much wave clear, as much soak as she can. Looks like Chetjan's going to bring Greymane up here, going to clear this wave out so you don't get too much damage to the towers. And so far, very good rotations here by Onslaught. Average Joe seems to be a little more static with Alarak staying in the solo lane. And we see that Ariel heal able to sustain people well enough. Greymane comes in onto Lunara. The root comes down from Arthas. The Polymorph comes down to try and lock Lunara down, but she escapes as Ariel has to back out. The pull in on Arthas from Alarak gets Vinsho down to half health here, but he's going to Mounts up and scoot away, so big engage there, but nobody dies. Polymorph goes down onto the Alarak on top lane, but Greymane not really going to follow up there, just to try and push him away. And meanwhile, Alarak is all alone against the 3-man here. Tries to pull in a silence, but he's not really convincing anybody to leave just yet, and they clear the wave. And Onslaught having the XP advantage so far.
And you can definitely see Onslaught's less standard rotations. They're a little more fluid, and that's getting them a lot of value here compared to the more rigid rotations coming out of Average Joe's. They're cleaning lanes a little more efficiently, keeping up in the gem race.
Yeah, and this is forced Alarak to come up to mid to fight, and he pulls in Arthas, gets a lot of damage on him. Manuberak tries to follow up, tries to get him down. Arthas, gets the crummy hit, but the Ariel heal is going to be enough. Meanwhile, Lord Blue has almost goes down to the Gul'dan. Gul'dan putting a ton of poison damage out, and Gul'dan already at 15 stacks on his corruption build at the moment. Non-Tech's going to come in here, and he's going to suck up some health from these minions. And again, we have 3 men trying to push in onto this Alarak. While meanwhile, they're not able to answer this 3 men in any other lane. They're not getting the kind of value that Onslaught is getting from their push. And Onslaught gets to level 5 first. Still got that half-level lead ahead of Average Joe's.
Onslaught making constant rotation, go down bot, push it out, bully it out, and then come up top and look for picks back and forth. It's working very well for him.
Yeah.
Also interesting to see Chromie starting the time trap build, it seems like.
Yep.
So we could see some pretty hype plays out of time trap and Dragon's Breath resets.
Yeah, and looking at the damage, Gul'dan just dwarfing everybody's damage here. Non-Tech making those corruptions on point here. And so now we have a 3-man versus 3-man here. Arthas Root comes out, misses. Lunara's going to flank onto the Gul'dan. He's just going to back up, and it looks they bring the 4th person down to rotate, leaving Greymane alone to soak up here, and that's just going to be more XP advantage. And Onslaught really forcing Average Joe's to respond to what they're doing instead of the other way around. But it looks like Average Joe's here going for the turn-in. They're missing just one, and that gives them a good place to possibly go get a camp before they turn in, or just get the lanes where they want before those spiders come in. Chromie looking a little low on mana. A little bit of fighting over here. Greymane gets a lot of damage. Tries to finish up on Lunara after the damage from Gul'dan, so they back up here.
Going to be a very tense fight over these turn-ins for the next significant chunk of the match. Both teams have enough to make the turn-in. Both teams want it so they can get control of the map here. If Onslaught gets it, they can start to snowball. If Average Joe's gets it, they can start to equalize the game and come back. Alarak
taking a lot of damage here. Lunara being chased away. Oh man, those corruptions is really hurting. But Average Joe's gets the turn in here. And Manuberak gets a 3-man stun here. No follow-up to be had here. And the spiders come down for Average Joe's. So let's see if they can catch up that half a level lead here by getting some structures. Lunara just really taking the brunt, but a huge amount of damage goes into Greymane, who was absolutely out of position in the front line. Greymane goes down, which is going to be excellent for Average Joe's with these spiders pushing in.
Yeah, and losing Greymane partially because of the 4v5, Brightwing's top to get the soak, but definitely hurts them to lose a hero there. They're spreading out to deal with the Weavers individually, try to get them down before they get too much damage off, but we're likely going to see Onslaught losing their walls in every lane at the rate it's going.
Yeah, Gul'dan, they split out to get the spiders, which was a good job. Alarak pushing Gul'dan back, not able to get the combo on him. Brightwing coming down to see if she can heal up Non-Tech. Non-Tech fighting back this Gul'dan. Damage coming onto the Alarak. Early cleanse comes out onto Gul'dan from the Brightwing, but not able to pull the combo off, even though he waited for that. And there's that corruption. These corruption stacks are really just wrecking. And meanwhile, we have the spider dying. This fort's not quite going to go on top, but they do in fact get all the walls, as you said, and the XP is back up to par.
And now that we're back to even on XP, this is definitely Average Joe's chance to start getting a little creative with their rotations as well and try to counter the fluid rotations of Onslaught, try to get back control of the map and back control of the gem generation. But first, they're going to want to try to deny this gem turn-in in response from Onslaught.
Yeah, and Brightwing's able to get that turn-in. I'm going to sit here and soak in the bush here. Polymorph Alarak, give a little bit of harassment. Alaric able to sustain himself. Onslaught cleans up their lanes, and it looks like we're going to have 4 from Average Joe's defending mid so far, and Alarac's going to continue to duke it out here with this Brightwing. Gets a combo onto her, but she's going to be okay. Probably heal that damage up in no time. And it looks like Onslaught going to be focusing on fighting the 4-man here. Alaric gets a root onto Lucio, but the boops away, and they move forward as the spider gets onto the top wall here.
A lot of focus onto this top lane here from Onslaught. You have to wonder if they're just trying to get this fort down quickly to open up boss lane for an early boss play to keep it a little bit down the line.
Yeah, focusing on top lane, definitely a smart idea on this map. Arthas gets this gate down, giving him a little bit more. Brightwing comes in, and it's going to be 5v4 while Alaric is on bottom. There comes the Fear as they hit 10, and Lucio goes down. Beautiful Fear by Gul'dan. Excellent follow-up to get the kill. And Onslaught coming back here after that turn-in and just getting the kill, which is going to secure this fort for them, as Alaric has to stay down here bottom. Meanwhile, the mid here, Spider is able to get this front wall as well as the bottom wall here. So Onslaught's going to move down here. Spider's still up. All their minions are up. They're going to try and take this fort as well. All the members are back up for Average Joe's. And they have to
Ultimate Choice is also looking standard right now.
Yeah.
Chromie running slowing stands to not deal with the cleanse from Brightwing on time loop.
Yeah, and we see go for the throat here. I was wondering what Greyman was going to go here. I've seen go for the throat picked a lot more these days. I think both ults are definitely viable, but go for the throat getting all more popular. And Alaric leading the charge in here, looking for blood. The root comes down from Arthas onto Alaric. Alaric's going to back up. He's going to self-sustain himself. Stun comes out from Manubrac, and that is going to be it for that engage. Meanwhile, Brightwing pushing pretty well into this fort. Brightwing running into the full team here. Alaric pushes her onto the wrong side. Emerald Wind to try and disengage. I think Brightwing is waiting for the stun before she uses her teleport, and the teleport not in time as the Lunara damage comes out, and the Fear up again just in time. In trying to get the Brightwing pick, Average Joe's did not realize that Onslaught was directly behind them, and they get flanked, and Alaric goes down for their trouble.
And you're starting to see the benefit of having all of these anti-dive ultis here. Brightwing is able to relatively safely push the bot lane, leave the 4-man alone. If they go on Brightwing, she can Emerald as Wind to help her escape, and if they go on the 4-man too hard, Crystal Aegis and Horrify are available to keep Gul'dan and Greymane safe if they come in there.
Yeah,
they can get split soak in both lanes and keep Average Joe's responding to them.
Yeah, so that was a huge pick here. Onslaught getting a fort and a turn-in off that, and so they're going to be pushing with the Spiders as they've got 13, and Average Joe's does not. Excellent escape there from Brightwing.
They are focusing on bot lane. It's going to take a little bit for mid and top weavers to work their way through the minion wave to get on keeps themselves. They're going to put as much pressure on bot as they can. Keep Average Joe's down here and away from those weavers so they can get forward and do structure value of their own.
Yeah. So this weaver about halfway down. Big stun comes out. Chromie chunks out Gul'dan in the backline. I think Average Joe's is going to need to see a lot more big Chromie shots to really have success here against Onslaught's composition.
Yeah, and it's especially painful with Chromie having gone into the time trap build.
Oh, here comes the Fear! Another huge Fear pushing Alaric the right way, and Alaric goes down again. Chromie damage coming on there into Arthas. He's going to be able to soak that up plenty nicely. Arthas tries to get a root down onto Lucio. The follow-up from Gul'dan misses as the root kind of whiffs, and they're going to go in for keep here.
And these Fears have been absolutely perfect so far. Every time a Fear comes out, where they're pulling picks off of it and just continuing to snowball this game.
Yeah. Okay, that keep is going to be theirs, and they're going to be happy with that as they jump out. A little bit of Chromie damage comes down to Arthas. He's fine, but Arthas gets pulled back by Alaric. This could be a pick here. Lord Boo comes in, and Emerald Wind gives Arthas the space he needs, but that's not going to stop Lunara from killing him. In the meanwhile, though, counterattack onto Lucio trades out 1 for 1. But hey, if you are Average Joe's, you want those trades.
Definitely. Being 3 levels down, 1-for-1 trade is definitely an EXP bonus for you. But man, it's really surprised that they managed to keep Arthas alive that long. He was sitting at maybe 5% HP for 10 seconds there before they finally brought him down.
I mean, they added more supports, but double support still not a slouch in terms of metas here. I'm gonna take a look at talents here. Nothing really strange. Running Wild here from Greymane to give himself a little bit more escape. A little bit, let's see, bye-bye from Chromie, which is going to make Chromie mains pretty angry that are watching. But that's what Average Joe's wants to go with, and let's see if they get some value from it here. Chromie trying to turn in here, but Onslaught's not going to let them get a free turn in. 15-13, this is a good fight for Average Joe's if they can get in a place that they're happy with here. But Gul'dan putting a ton of damage onto Nubarak. Gets the E out as Arthas tries to root a Nubarak before he can, so he is going to be just fine. Almost a kill onto Lord Boo, but Lord Boo, with the stronger reaction time there, able to get out when he needed. Inara trying to get a little bit of flanks, but she has to back away. And Nubarak and Alarak taking a lot of damage here on this front line, trying to get this Night Camp that's pushing. Lucio heals, gets everybody back up to full, and this Night Camp not going to get all the way to the core, but it's definitely going to keep Lord Average Joe's busy, as here comes 16, and Onslaught going for the big flank. This Lunara should die, but the root is not on. But it doesn't matter. Gul'dan damages way too much. Alarak goes down. Lucio about to die as well, and this poison damage is too much. They're going to clean it up here with Anubarak going down, and that is a 3-for-0 trade onto, and they're going to just go for core here, 16-14. Chromie desperately throwing down the slowing sands to try to keep them off. They just walk around it, and they go onto the core, and it's going to be really difficult for them to stop this core push. Gul'dan looking a little hurt, but here comes the heal, and they're down to 40% already, and they're probably going to be able to get this. And there it is, an Onslaught takes the first game. Well done by Onslaught there. Controlling the rotations and just getting some phenomenal Gul'dan play out of there. Easily the MVP of the match. And with that, the next map is going to be Brax's Holdout. Here, and we're just going to get that set up here. So, what do you think of that game there?
I mean, as you said, gotta hand it to the Gul'dan there. Throughout the early game, just getting massive corruption hits, getting a lot of stacks in the early game, and then right into level 10, boom, transitioning right into landing, you know, exactly the right fear at exactly the right time, and just guaranteeing a pick or two. On Average Joe's side, you could see that Alarak in particular wanted to try to move up, get combos off, you know, get some of that silence damage on squishies, get some kills, and stack that malice. But he just always had to worry about that ever-present threat of the fear pulling him way out of position, and so he was never able to position as aggressively as he wanted to.
Yeah. So, very strong showing there, but of course that was Onslaught's map pick, and we'll hope that Average Joe's has got something up their sleeve for Brax's Holdout, which is their map pick, so they're going to hope to execute their desired strategy, and hopefully we're going to see a strong game here. That was, I mean, Onslaught won, but that was, you know, there were definitely points where Average Joe's could have pulled that game out, but unfortunately it was too much too quickly.
There were definitely some close moments, and they played it well for what they were going into. Just the CC that was placed against them was just a lot for them to try to overcome.
Yeah. For sure. Okay. I was going to wait to get the rest of... going to give... Okay, here comes the rest of Average Joe's. They're going to talk it over, get back in the huddle, and get back out there and try to win the second half of this.
And Braxis, I feel like, could be a good map for them. One of the things that they were struggling with a little bit on the earlier part of the game on Tomb of the Spider Queen was the rotations on the relatively small map. They were dealing with a much more fluid rotations from the other team. if they can do better in the 4-man or even the 2-3 split with better team fight here, they can force out a beacon and perhaps snowball the early game and convert that to a win.
And I can definitely, if you're average Joe's, I can see them banning out the Gul'dan, as Gul'dan very powerful on this, and I could see Onslaught first picking him.
Yeah, I would not be surprised at all to see a first ban on Gul'dan just right off the get-go, get it out of the way. Or if not the first pick Gul'dan, then opening picks that lend themselves to a composition to counter what Gul'dan's capable of.
All right, here we go. We are ready to roll here. I'm going to hit start game again. And the lobby died.
Ruh-roh. Blizzard has decided that our lobby is no more.
Yeah, that's... Okay, that's unfortunate.
That's all right. We'll get it put back together in just a moment. I'm also interested to see if perhaps we see new Malf on this map. I've been looking. I haven't gotten a whole lot of a chance to play him yet, but just looking at what he's capable of now, new Malf looks like he could be a real threat on Braxis.
Okay, let me invite you back here.
There we go.
Okay, I think everybody is... Okay, it looks like everybody is set. Let's try again. One is ready and two are ready, and let's hit start game, and hopefully it doesn't crash. There it goes.
And here we go into the draft phase for Braxis Holdout.
Okay, and this is me. Onslaught picking first. Let's see what they decide here. And
I think what
the Sonya.
what they ban here will definitely tell us what they're trying to do. If we see a solo laner ban or we see something like the Sonya ban come up, they'll definitely be trying to pull a 4-1 traditional.
Yeah.
If we see something that's a little different, we might be seeing a 2-3 split.
They're kind of talking over the rest of their draft here. Sonya picked now. And we'll see if we get the respect ban on the Gul'dan or if there's something else that they want to do. Because Gul'dan's very powerful on this map.
Definitely. A lot of wave clear, a lot of shrine control, or beacon control. Definitely can pop him into your 4-man in bot lane and have a much easier time controlling that lane. They're hovering the ETC ban, though. Also a fairly deadly pick on this map. Stage Dive allows him to quickly bounce between shrines if he wants to, or Mosh Pit can be a real menace for controlling those beacons or controlling a boss play later on.
Yeah, true. And I'm very, actually, a side note here on the technical stats. I cannot see, actually, that they're hovering ETC, which makes me think that the observing is... it's interesting how the observing is coded.
Yeah, that is strange. I'm definitely seeing it, but...
Yeah, I think an observer is considered to be on a side, but... Yeah, so they ban out the ETC, so we'll see what Onslaught is going for on this map.
The Gul'dan, worth mentioning, is still up, and with how well it worked out in the last game and how powerful it is in this map, as we've been saying, possibly a valuable first pick.
Yeah. It definitely caused a lot of trouble as Gul'dan was able to just get corruption after corruption off onto the side of Average Joe's.
Yeah, Onslaught not rushing into anything here on the picks, thinking through their options, figuring out what their optimal first pick is going to be.
Yeah. Running down to the wire here. Onslaught going for the Ariel again. Had a lot of luck and just having a lot of... probably could be a comfort pick here for Onslaught.
Yeah, and a very interesting comfort pick at that. Ariel, not considered one of the stronger healers in this meta, but at the same time, worked out very well in the previous game. So if it's not broke, don't fix it, right?
Yeah, I have to imagine the reason it went down to the wire there is Onslaught's probably having the discussion of, do we take the Ariel now, and if we do, what happens if they grab the Gul'dan? And who else is going to be our battery? But they don't grab the Gul'dan, and instead they go for Dahaka Genji. Dahaka Genji here makes me think that they've got a plan, and they're going to stick to it.
Yeah, that definitely screams to me, go ahead and pick the Gul'dan this time. We're going to be ready for it.
Yep.
We're going to be on you with Dragon Blade. We're going to be on you with Burrow and Tongue Grabs, and we're going to deal with it and leave you without an energy generator. Whether they're able to execute and pull that off, and whether Onslaught even goes into the Gul'dan remains to be seen.
Yeah, Dragon Blade hits everybody, not just one person, so there's a limit to what Aegis is going to be able to do against the Genji. But I could see the Ariel Brightwing again here, able to polymorph that Genji if he goes Dragon Blade, able to Emerald Wind, keep everybody safe for that.
Yeah, and as Fonzie GG in chat pointed out as well, another strong pick for them here could be Zarya. With different energy generator than Gul'dan and Zarya shields could be very powerful, but they do go into the Gul'dan and Muradin for their tank.
Okay, Muradin very good at rotating here on this map, able to leap over tall buildings, get right into there, and in rotating he's going to heal up with usually people go third wind, so he's able to keep that sustain in between lanes. So
definitely a menace on this map, played correctly and rotating aggressively. And with the Gul'dan keeping a solid presence on the bot lane, that will more than likely free Muradin up to make those rotations on a pretty frequent basis, unless they can find a good solution for Gul'dan.
Yeah, and if Muradin can hit those Storm Bolts, it's going to be very good, strong against Genji.
For sure.
But that's the if though, isn't it? It's the... Is Genji going to be able to E out before Muradin comes in on him?
Yeah, and that is the life of a Genji, man. You get in there and you do a lot of damage, but you hate CC, and if you get caught, you are one dead ninja.
Yeah, they're going to forfeit their second ban, which is unfortunate.
I'm wondering if perhaps was there
probably a miscommunication. Yeah, I hope. Okay, it's supposed to be an Artanis ban, but not able to. So I'm not sure why the other team has said anything. Oh, okay, all right. They asking for a gentleman's ban there on Artanis. Fair enough. That's really awesome for Onslaught to be able to say good. Yeah, no, that's an Artanis ban. That's certainly not a broken ban up there in the corner. So. Really glad to see that behavior coming out here on NGS.
Yeah, and apologies for the technical issues. It seems that since this most recent patch, there have been a few hiccups in the lobby system that will probably get worked out over the next week or two, but we will work through them as best we can in the meantime.
Yeah, so the Lucio ban coming out here. Lucio definitely able to keep the high sustain that you need on Abraxas holdout, and so they're going to save their support for their last pick. So Nubarak Greymane coming out, looking for that dive with the Genji, the Nubarak Dahaka strong CC combo there, and we're going to see how Onslaught responds.
I have to say I like the Nubarak pick a lot more this game than I do in the previous. Their lineup is a lot divier, which takes much better advantage of an Nubarak's kit. They can be the aggressors now, get in close, and either get rid of Gul'dan early or force out the Horrify before they can pull a big combo off of it.
Yeah, and Genji definitely has a lot more. I don't know about protection against the Horrify, but he's able to jump around, and there's a better chance that Genji is not going to be out of position to be on the receiving end of the Horrify like an Alarak was.
For sure. Genji has a lot of options to just not be in that optimal place where that Horrify is going to land.
Yeah. So they come down to the wire here in Onslaught. decides to go with Arthas Sylvanas. So this is going to be just all push all day. Muradin able to roam. If Arthas is in trouble, I have to imagine they'll put Arthas as a solo lane. Gul'dan is sort of infinite sustain, and Sylvanas looks like they're going to try and end this game early.
Sylvanas, I feel like is one of those heroes you're always a little worried about on this map. She may not be as good on the shrine control, but if you happen to lose that heavy Zerg wave and Sylvanas is pushing with it, you're going to lose that keep into that first Zerg wave. Just almost guaranteed unless you have a really good defensive tool like Ragnaros Molten Core to put up that defense.
Yeah, and I would not be surprised to see a Ragnaros, except that gives a lot of melee into a Gul'dan.
Yeah, and they still need to pick up their support pick as well, so that kind of locks them out of their Ragnaros pick unless they want to try a really interesting gameplay strategy. But instead they go for Stukov. They'll be able to use the arm build if they want to take that for a little bit of anti-siege.
Yeah.
Get silences down on Gul'dan to prevent Horrify clutch moments. I feel like this is actually a really good pick, and it gives them a good amount of sustain as well.
Yeah, and I'm not sure what I was saying with that Ragnaros pick. I forgot they didn't have support. I'm not used to people leaving their support pick up until the end. But there's the swaps, and we're going to see how this goes down here.
Yeah, I definitely expect to see Stukov being kind of a centerpiece of the strategy for this map. Stukov arm kind of giving them bits and pieces of terrain to get advantage over where the enemy team just can't stand, to give Dahaka space to move up Nubarak space to move up and advance their position forward.
Yeah, I'll give a shout out to the icon portrait synergy here. We've got Crotch versus Pachimaru. It's very nice. But I think this is going to be Average Joe's here is really, it's on them now. Now that they've got Sylvanas, it's on Average Joe's to execute.
Facility powering up.
All right.
Absolutely.
So, coming in here, we've got on Onslaught, we've got Chetjan on Arthas, Non-Tech again on the Gul'dan, the Vinsho on Muradin, Zeus on Ariel, and Malistar on Sylvanas.
And in the red corner on Average Joe's, we have Random Task on Genji, Harmful Wang on Stukov, Lord Boo on Nubarak, Ogle the Great on Dahaka, and Harmful Wang on Murphy on Greymane. I'm sorry, I called Harmful Wang twice.
Yeah, so here comes the Sylvanas cheese bot, I have to imagine. Arthas is going to start top. I don't know if this is a cheese so much as this is our 4-man, and we can push quickly if we want. Genji looking around here mid, trying to figure out if there's going to be a Sylvanas in an obscure location here. Storbolt comes in as the Gul'dan damage comes out, and everybody starts to take a lot of damage right here off the bat. And so there's not really going to be a Sylvanas push, as Average Joe's was indeed here in the bottom lane.
And you can already see in the early game, Gul'dan beginning with big corruptions, a lot of wave clear, pushing that lane out, making it hard for Average Joe's to get lane position. Yeah,
and again, a big weakness of Average Joe's composition is the lack of wave clear. Nubarak is okay, but the Genji in the game, Greymane, Genji is not that great. Greymane is okay, Stukov is okay, but against a Gul'dan, that's a lot of waves. Oh, the E comes in on Sylvanas and misses. Greymane tries to follow up, doesn't get a whole lot. Non-Tech getting harassed here. The silence comes out, and Genji goes too far trying to get that Muradin kill and goes down.
You can see Average Joe's, once they get aggressive down there, they know they need to get those picks to push that lane back up. And in the meantime, the Dahaka and Arthas top lane is going to be more or less a stalemate for a while. Dahaka should be able to push the lane out a little more effectively over time with later levels.
Yeah.
But no one's going to decisively win that lane for a while.
Yeah, and if you can see, if Average Joe's gets better at their decision making on when exactly to be aggressive, they can be very, very dangerous here for Onslaught. Wow, Gul'dan getting a lot of damage onto Murphy, but Genji comes in and starts to punish him, and maybe Genji is the tool that they need against that Gul'dan.
Absolutely, and here's where you start to see the weaknesses of the solo healer Ariel setup. Gul'dan is low, doesn't have enough mana to really life tap, and not enough energy coming out from other sources to keep him alive.
Genji dashes in, tries to get the kill, but he's not able to do much and has to back out immediately. Nubarak trying to hold this point, taking a ton of damage, has to E out is going to be fine. Meanwhile, Murden gets the stun onto Genji, but there's no follow-up, and Genji's going to be okay. Meanwhile, Dahaka having no problem taking this point, but Arthas comes back here while Dahaka has to clear. Now Genji comes in, gets the kill onto Murden, and the Protected, by the way, keeps him up against that Gul'dan damage. Very well done here by Random Task.
Very good pick. That'll get them control the Shrine for a little bit, which is good because top lane is going to be more or less trading the Shrine back and forth for a while.
Yeah,
meaning every time that they have the Shrine in top, the Onslaught is going to get a little bit of beacon progress unless average Joes can step up and keep that beacon to themselves.
Yeah, well played by Random Task, but the unfortunate thing is that in this 4-man, in the setup, average Joes really, it's going to be hard for them to make something happen. Really, they're just playing not to lose. Because you see they got a pick there, and they weren't able to capitalize anything off of it. Murphy goes hard. They try to get aggressive, but that is too much health here. Genji tries to come in and finish off the Gul'dan, but no dice. They don't get a 1-for-1, and Greymane goes down in a tiny bit of alter percentage gotten there. Big stun onto Lord Boo, but Gul'dan is suffering a lot of damage. Ariel is doing the best she can to keep him up, and he just doesn't have any mana. That being said, Onslaught grabs the beacon again, and Arthas really winning this top here. It's very even right here. So, in fact, average Joe's is ahead at the moment. So, well done by them.
Yeah, and you can definitely see average Joe's strategy here, using Genji to keep pressure on that Gul'dan in particular. They know if they can keep him low on health and unable to mana tap often, they won't be able to use him for an energy generator, and they'll have to default to Sylvanas to get that energy back to keep Gul'dan in the fight, giving their heal output a little bit of problems there.
So average Joe's deciding to take the top beacon by sending Anubarak to rotate top. Onslaught responds by getting a kill onto Stukov with their 4-man, and that wave clear enables them to really have a lot of threat onto whoever's left here. Gul'dan damage, humongous! Greymane gets stunned there at the gate, and he goes down as well, and it's going to be 2-0. Genji has a tap, actually, and uses the tap instead of backing here. But this anti-siege on the side of average Joe's not very strong.
Not at all, and again, you're seeing why they call Sylvanas a win more hero. Off of a couple of picks, they were able to just get in, not worry about tower damage at all, and just take a whole wall out.
Lord Boo, Anubarak and Genji getting very aggressive there, just able to get out without really touching the health bars of Onslaught and all, and there's a 140 Zerg wave, and it looks like these two are gonna probably stick up here. Arthas is gonna mount up and back off, and here comes the Sylvanas push with the Onslaught team here.
Yeah, and this is this push we were talking about. When you have Sylvanas on top of a full Zerg wave like this, it's hard to keep that from rolling right into keep, even if it is the first Zerg wave. You just don't have anything to deal damage to these Zerg unless you can step up and get to them yourself, and they have so many zoning tools, it's almost impossible for them to do it. Yeah,
looking at talents here, no real surprises. Gul'dan, 4 stacks away from completing his quest. And they're going to get this front wall for sure. Yeah, and if average Joe's can't prevent them from getting keep, they're going to have Onslaught will have 10 pushing onto an open core. Genji comes in, tries to get things done. W comes out, not able to get much damage on Sylvanas at all. Gul'dan, really low on mana, but here comes the RL heal for more mana. A ton of damage coming out. And Genji goes down. Shadow Dagger,
knows they need to get aggressive, but they're just not able to find that opportunity to get in and get the pick safely.
Yeah, unfortunately losing that, 10 to 8, and here comes the mind control. Definitely a win more. Mind control into fear. Greymane goes down, and this keep is absolutely going to be theirs. Murden, on the other hand, stays in a little too long. Aegis comes out to make sure Murden can heal up and get that third wind off, but Genji comes in and tries to finish it off. Not able to do so, but able to get out. And that keeps still down, not killing anything because Sylvanas winning more.
And perfectly timed Aegis, by the way. Muradin getting into that Aegis with just about 100 life left.
Yeah.
Got him just in time.
Yeah, normally you don't want to use Aegis as a saving mechanic, but Muradin has his own saving mechanic inside of Aegis, so very well done there from them. And it looks like they're waiting for the Zerg to die, and Onslaught is going to boss as soon as it is up. Sylvanas able to back and get full health. The boss appears, and they're going to take it for absolutely free. I do believe, though, that this boss will go top.
We'll definitely go top. Probably going to get them, if they decide to push with it, at least top 4 it with the Sylvanas.
Yeah, they
Joe's knows
they
they're
sniff it
doing
out. It's way,
boss.
way too late.
But there's just, even if they had gotten there on time, there's just nothing they can do fighting, 9 into 11, 2 levels down, no ultimates.
Yeah,
There's just no conceivable way they could have stopped that boss play.
Yeah, they could have started this camp, but they didn't even start this camp, so they really have to walk away with nothing. And it looks like they're going to try and push bottom here, maybe go fort for fort, but with Sylvanas, if Sylvanas can keep this boss alive, and she probably will without a defense, they're going to have to deal with the Sylvanas boss on their keep. And that boss is probably going to be full health.
Yeah, I'm actually a little worried here, because if they don't get up there and start addressing this boss soon, this could very well just push for core right here, right now. Boss just took out the fort, and it is still at completely full health.
Yeah, and I think they were really just doing it to get 10. In fact, as they get 10, they realize the danger that they're in. And at least now they have ultimates to deal with this situation here. Mind Control comes out onto the Genji. That's a very powerful anti-Genji tool with no real cleanse on the side of average Joes, and you've got a boss and you've got fire bats pushing onto this, so it's a negative 20 armor onto this keep, and Gul'dan's taking a lot of damage, but the Ariel gonna heal him right back up. Flaying Sight comes up, but Onslaught just comes right back for more, and this is gonna be 2 keeps down at 9 minutes into the game. Lord Boo goes down, there's nothing he can do. Greymane puts his tail between his legs and gets back into the core, and this is gonna be a game, I'm sure.
Absolutely insane structure value out of the Sylvanas through the whole second half of this match. Pushing up with the Zerg wave into keep, and then pushing with the boss into the second keep and then core. Yeah,
Dragonblade comes out. Muradin almost dies from it, but keeps him alive. The core was going to be theirs anyway. GG. Very well played here from Onslaught. Unfortunately, Average Joes just did not have the tools to deal with the Sylvanas. And that last Sylvanas pick, I think, threw them for a loop. I don't think they were expecting it.
Yeah, I don't think they were. I certainly wasn't. I was actually a little concerned about it, because I was wondering if they would be able to get the advantage they need to start the snowball with the Sylvanas, but they were able to get it and then use the Sylvanas to just snowball that map out of control.
All right, now let's see if I can get the captain of Onslaught into in here for an interview. I'm whispering him now. Let me see if I can get his attention here. And we'll see if Chet Jan is the talking type here. Oh, okay. It looks like Zeus and Mal want to do it.
All right.
Okay, we're gonna go move to the NGS Discord here, a different channel here. So follow me, please.
Will do.
Okay. All right, and we have Malistar and Zeus here. Well done. 2-0 victory there. Very good job. How do you guys feel about that?
Felt pretty good. Was Consort the other caster, or
yes.
One of their players? I can't remember.
Yeah, Consort was my co-caster for this.
How's it going, guys?
It's going well. Feel good coming off a good game, you know.
Nice.
Feel good.
Yeah.
I don't normally get to. I don't normally get to play a lot of Sylvanas, but we realized that the enemy was weak to receiving poke, and we thought we could snowball early with how the last game went.
Oh, very good.
So I got to break out one of my favorite heroes.
Excellent. I was going to ask if that was intentional from the beginning, or if you just saw Sylvanas as an opening against their composition midway through the draft.
The two things was, first we wanted to make sure we had a really good solo laner, which is normally our strategy for Braxis, because our solo lane hero that our player we usually have in solo lanes is really good at solo lanes, so we usually like to lean on that a lot.
Right.
Which is the way we were going to go. But with the way the picks and bans were going and the way the last game was going, we ended up realizing that we didn't need to do that as much. Dahaka's really, really bad at losing a lane, but there are a collection of heroes that can beat him. And so instead we put Arthas up there, who should just beat Dahaka basically every time, I think.
Which he did.
And then that allowed me to go and take Sylvanas instead of being the solo lane. They had a lot of floating around instead of engaging, and they picked a comp where they had to engage. And Sylvanas doesn't die to Genji unless she unloads into deflect, so I can't get flanked by it. So we just figured that we could poke down their comp with Ariel, Gul'dan, and Sylvanas and get them love. They tried to engage and didn't do it perfectly. Gul'dan and I could take out any flanker who tried to do that. And that's what we did. We got a pick, and we took a tower. We got a pick, we took a tower. We had an experience lead. We got the objective, and we pushed all the way.
Definitely some very clever drafting from you guys.
I think our team played well, but also the other team played really well too.
Oh, for sure.
There's a couple really good stuff that they pulled on early game, I think.
Some of those cocoons really messed up the calls we were making. We made a call and a cocoon came down. We had to stop everything we were doing to. The timing was on those cocoons was very good to stop our engages the way we wanted to do them.
Yeah, it's unfortunate they had very little anti-siege when you guys picked up that Sylvanas.
Yes,
it was very awkward.
That was another point that we were bringing up, that it's basically just Cocktail from Greymane, and he kept going close to the tower so we could poke him.
Yeah. I do have a question about the Ariel first pick. You guys really showed off your strong Gul'dan non-tech. Always strong on that hero.
Yes, he is.
And you guys just demolished with Gul'dan in the first game, which I was surprised they didn't counterpick Gul'dan in that second round. What was your guys?
That too.
Yeah, did you guys? Were you thinking about Vala as a battery if they picked up the Gul'dan, or do you not want to say?
We were leaning pretty hard towards wanting Ragnaros or Sylvanas.
Okay.
Obviously, we want Gul'dan, right?
Yes.
But we knew that Gul'dan, Sylvanas, or Ragnaros, we were going to have one of those heroes, so worst comes to worst, we're going to have a pretty decent battery. Our dreams came true when we got Gul'dan, though.
Okay, excellent. Yeah, very nice. Counselor, do you have any more questions?
Yeah, and I was actually curious about your guys' priority onto the Ariel in particular. Ariel not considered traditionally one of the stronger healers right now, but you guys definitely put her to good work. And I was wondering specifically the thought process on taking the Ariel before the Gul'dan in the first pick situation as opposed to going for the Gul'dan and then waiting the Ariel out.
So we're just talking about Braxis at this moment, right? Just the first pick solo? It basically just harkens back what I was saying, that we knew that we were going to pick a hero that was a battery. We knew that if you look at the end there, like Sylvanas is actually a really, really good battery. The hero damage from Sylvanas, it's not good at killing people. You can't focus the target you want to. Your Qs will land on the tank. Your dagger isn't like good at bursting someone down most of the time.
Yeah.
But as far as getting a high number, which is what Ariel cares about, at the end, the Sylvanas actually had more hero damage than the Gul'dan did. Gul'dan had more kill pressure, obviously, but Sylvanas is a great, great battery.
Yeah. Do you feel that Ariel is a little... I mean, Ariel's definitely weaker since they nerfed her W cooldown reduction, but you still think she's viable after that?
I think maybe on like the average comp, I'm not sure about. But our plan was to take heroes that were good with Ariel.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think that with the way that she is now, she has a really, really powerful niche where if you can stop the enemy from engaging into you, and you can take heroes like Gul'dan, Lunara, Vala, something like that, she's really good. But you can't just like slot her into, I don't know, like say you're doing like double tank with like Greymane and Falstad or something, like a reasonable comp, but you can't put Ariel in that comp. It won't do anything.
Fair.
Right.
And
So I
also,
think
I'm
her
an Ariel
niche-
god that should be praised and worshipped. Level 2 level here.
I think that her niche is still, she's really strong in her niche, but I wouldn't recommend just slotting her into comps and thinking that she's going to win you the game.
All right.
I do have to say that Crystal Aegis on Muradin when he had about 130 life left, After that first keep, that was I thought he was a goner for sure. That was a great Crystal Aegis.
Yeah. Got him enough time for the heal cooldown too. I think that was good.
Yeah, his trait popped as he was in the Aegis.
We had a long talk during the loading screen about mind control.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a very strong advocate for not taking mind control ever.
Mm-hmm. It worked out real well, though. I gotta say, and they didn't really have a way to stop it either.
That's the thing. I'm actually the one who suggested that we take mind control against my usual better judgment. They're only like, so Wailing Arrow doesn't actually do much against their comp except against Genji, and Genji just dies. If you get like 2 seconds of mind control on Genji, Genji is dead every time. Genji's the only person that dies to the silence of Wailing Arrow, and mind control does even better. And the whole point of Sylvanas was to snowball.
Gotcha.
People in their team kept poking out of position the first game. Like, one person would go just a little bit closer than maybe they ought to, and their teammates wouldn't have been close enough to back them up. And we thought we could get some picks with mind control there, and then just use Sylvanas' trait 10. I'm talking a lot about Sylvanas because that was the hero I was playing, so that's the part that I know about.
That's fair.
That's not to say that she was more important than others. It's just, you know, the hero I was playing was the stuff that I know the most about.
Absolutely.
Big shout out to Non-Tech, who is
incredible
at, you know.
We were talking earlier how some of our best comps are just machines that manufacture the MVP screen for Non-Tech.
And thank you, Ghost Dunk and Consort for.
Yeah, I love knowing that we're going to have a good cast there.
Yeah. Well, thank you very much for that. I really appreciate that. Well done today, you guys. 2-0. That gives you 3 big points for NGS. Thank you for coming on to interview, and GG's.
Love you. Yeah.
All right. Okay. I do believe that does it for me. Let me make sure my co-caster comes back in here so he can say goodbye. Okay, yeah, so again, we have Onslaught going up 2-0 against Average Joe's here in Division C East for NGS, Nexus Gaming Series. Make sure you guys check out nexusgamingseries.com, and there's a ton more games. This is a fantastic league. I encourage you guys to check out, look at the community and see all the other people that are casting tonight. Again, my co-caster has been Consort. Thank you very much, Consort.
Thank you for having me on. I'm glad to be down here, do my first Nexus Gaming Series cast. So looking forward to doing a lot more. Yeah,
it was a lot of fun. I had a good time, and I've got to go and play my own NGS game. So I will catch you guys later. Again, Onslaught going up 2-0 against Average Joe's. I am Ghost Dunk. My co-caster has been Consort. Good night, everybody.